Hello, my name's Christopher, and today I'm going to show you a Big Bear script that I made. It makes it to where you can run the script and you can block websites like social media while you're working. So, a little bit about this series, I'm going over technology. So, I'm going to go over anything to do with technology, Big Bear scripts, apps, things like that. So, if you're interested in that, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel, and let's get started. I wanted to let y'all know about the Big Bear community. We just launched a community on community.bigbeartechworld.com. It's based on discourse, so go on there, join it, and say hi. So let's get back to your registered programming. So I wanted to go over today a script I made. It's called Big Bear Website Blocker. It's a script to where you can put the websites that you go to that you spend a lot of time in that you might not want to go to when you're working. So you can put them in this config file and then run the script, and it'll put it in its etc host file. It'll put it in your etc host file, and then it'll block it because you'll be making it go to the local host of 127.0.0.1. So this makes it to where it's blocked on every browser and your whole computer. So if you want to unblock it, you just run the script again. So it's toggling the blocking in the etc host file. So I made it pretty easy. So automatic prefix additions. So it'll automatically add the local host to it and the www. And I made it to where there is a comprehensive list of social networks that you might not want to spend your time on when you're working. And I also made it to where it backs up the host file before it makes any changes to your host file. So down here, you'll see the run command. So you can run it with curl or wget. And you can also download it to your computer and run it as well. When you run it for the first time, it will create the config files. There's two. There's the settings, and then there's also the websites to block. The blocked websites config right here. So I will get to explaining the script now. So now I'm going to start on Big Bear scripts. There will be a link down in the YouTube description to get to this. I'm going to go over to search and type toggle. And you'll see toggle website blocking right here. So now you have a blocked website's config right here, a run.sh, and then a settings.config right here. So if you go into blocked, you'll see the different websites that can be blocked. So you can add your own here. And then the settings, you can change your host file, a location. I don't know why you do that, but you can. And then the config file, the default resolver, and the start marker and the end marker. Now, if you run the script and you already have it inside of your host file, you cannot change the start marker or the end marker anymore. You will have to take the websites off to the host file, and then you can change the start marker and the end marker, because that's how it removes it and adds it. So now the backup directory. So this is the backup directory of that. It backs up your host file before it does any changes to your host file. So it'll back it up in the temp. So now I'm going to go over to the run.sh right here. So start with bin bash, and then I'm going to display the welcome message. I'm going to set a variable for the current directory. And then I'm going to load the settings right here. So settings file, the current directory, and then settings.config. And then if that does exist, I'm going to come down here to the if. And if it does exist, it's going to run the source. So it's going to source the settings.config. And then if the settings.config does not exist, it's going to come down here to the else. And it's going to create the config file and source it. And then it's going to come down here to the config file. It's going to put the config file in the variable. And then it's going to see if it's not created. If it's not created, then it's going to create a config file. And then it's going to come down here and say created the default blocked website's config file. And then I'm going to set a function to read entries. So it's going to read the entries from the config file. And if it does not exist, it's going to come down here and say the configuration file was not found. So now I'm going to back up the host file, and this is what I use to back it up. It's a function, and it's going to back it up right here. So the backup directory, and then the host backup, and then it's going to put the date, the timestamp on it. It's going to use a copy, so sudo a copy the host file to the backup file right here, and then it's going to echo out backup of a host file created. And then I'm going to add a function to add the entries to the host file, so the start marker, and then it's going to loop through the host entries that it created up here, and then it's going to echo out those, and then it's going to echo out the end marker. So now it's going to append the entries to the host file, and then it's going to echo out and say entries added. So remove entries. So it's going to be able to remove the entries now with this function. So it's going to go on the start marker and the end marker. And this is what I was saying. You do not change the start marker and the end marker while the host file is blocking the websites, because then it can't find it and remove it. So now I'm going to set a function to toggle the entries. So if the start marker is there, it's going to run the remove entries function right here, and then the else is going to back it up, and then it's going to add the entries. So that's a little function just to toggle back and forth. And then now the main function, so it's going to make sure that this script is being run with root because it needs it, and then the read entries, and then the toggle entries, and then it's going to run the main function. So that's a little bit about how the script works. So I'm going to start on Big Bear Scripts again. I'm going to go over to search and type toggle, and then now I'm going to go to the README, and you can copy the curl or the wget. I'm going to copy the curl, then I'm going to go into my terminal and run it. So I wanted to let you know about the Big Bear Club. You can join it, and it greatly supports this channel, and I very much appreciate it. So if you'd like to join the Big Bear Club, you can go down the YouTube description and go to my Ko-Fi link and join it from there. So let's get back to registered programming. So now I'm going to start in my terminal, and I'm going to try to curlx.com, and you can see it did connect. So I'm going to cat out etc host, and you can see it's not got anything in there blocking. So I'm going to clear it, and I'm going to run the command to toggle the website blocking. But before we do that, I'm going to put it in a directory called Big Bear Blocker, and then now I'm going to cd into Big Bear Blocker, and then now I'm going to paste in the command again, and I'm going to run it. So now you can see it created the settings a config file and the blocked websites config file. It backed up the host file before it changed anything to temp host backup, and then the timestamp, and then it said entries added. So if we cut out etc host, we can see it did add all these. And so if we clear this out and we ls, we can see it created a blocked one and a settings. So if we cut out the blocked a websites config, you can see it did create all these. So it's blocking all those, and you can change this and you can add more domains. It's very versatile. And then I'm going to clear it out, and then I'm going to cut out settings config. I wanted to make it to where you can change the settings without changing the script directly. So the host file, the config file, default resolver, start marker, end marker, and then backup directory. So that's what's in there. So I'm going to go ahead and run the command again, and you can see it did remove them. So if we cut out etc host, we can see it did remove it. And if we go ahead and we run the command again, and then we curl out x.com again, you can see it did fail to connect. And same with if we go to Facebook, you can see it did fail to connect. So it is successfully working, and it gives you a versatile way to add websites and remove websites and change the settings. So that's how the script works. So I just went over the script and I showed you what it's about. I explained how it's built. So if you like this tutorial, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel. And if you have any video suggestions or any community support, you can go to the Big Bear community and join our forum. There's a link in the YouTube description. So stay tuned for more.